Hello, welcome back to Plan V Works. This is Vanessa. I'm glad that you can join us here today. We are still on the month of February where our theme is creating interactive dice, and today we're going to create a Magic Iris interactive Valentine's Day card. For this project, we are going to use a special card from Fawn, which is called Magic Iris Special Dice. Now, usually we don't use special dies, especially for me, but today we are going to create this just because it's so much fun to do. Now, there are many more other videos out there and resources that make this in detail, but today I'm just going to briefly go through it. As you can see here, I've die cut 3 of these little sausages and 3 of those little donuts. 3 of these little stabilizers, because that's what they will do, and you'll understand that later. 3 of these little tag handles that all correspond to the dies that come with a kit. Now this next little bit is not really anything that cuts a new piece. What it does actually is create markings on one of those donuts, and this is what everyone calls the flux capacitor because it looks exactly like that. So what it does really is to create all of those little dots and slits that you will find on your donuts. So out of these 3 donuts, you use the flux capacitor on just the one, and the rest will remain as it is. Now I'm also using these card panels for my card, and we will see more of that in detail later. So now we are going to proceed with putting together our magic iris. The first step would be to insert all of these little sausages with that tail right onto those slits. Now we are not gluing anything just yet. We are just making sure that everything fits perfectly, and you will understand once you have all your pieces together how they interact with each other. Now you will see that these little sausages kind of overlap on each other, but it does not cover all of those little X markings that you will see. You see all of those 3 little markings right there? They're there for a reason, and later on I'm going to show you what it's there for. But for now, just to show you quickly, that is where these little glue dots will be, and that will adhere to our second donut. But before we get there, let's make sure that we have all of our sausages in place and make sure that it doesn't cover the middle. Now, it's a bit tricky to do this, but make sure that once you have your glue dots on all of those X spots, it does not touch any of the other sausages, just so it doesn't stick. Now, while you adjust this and align them together, make sure that you do not cover the middle portion of that donut, just like this. Now that you have everything nicely in place, gently grab that second donut and put that on top of that very gently as you try to secure everything by making sure that the glue dots underneath that sticks to that second donut. Now this is how it looks like from the back, and as you can see, it has all of those little markings that you will find right there. And those markings are where you're going to stick your stabilizers. And this is how it's going to look. You'll just have to align them perfectly into those markings. And as you can see, those stabilizers, the edges of that will fit perfectly into those little marks. The edges are also curved to follow the curve of the circle from that donut piece. Now the next thing we're going to do is put some glue onto those markings, just straight down, and attach our stabilizers just like this. Now we are going to do the exact same thing on the 2 remaining stabilizers and attach them on their respective markings, making sure that they are stuck and secure right there in place. Now once we have all of that ready, this is how it's going to look. And this is how it looks from the front. Now you see there are those little red excesses. Don't touch those. We will deal with those later on. The next step would be to attach our little handle that will move the iris open and close. Now all you have to do is just stick that little handle, make sure that it is sturdy. I attached 3 cardstocks to make sure that it is sturdy enough. We will stick this at an angle, making sure that the curve on that handle is aligned to the curve of that circle right in the middle. Now, as we press this down, we make sure that it's nice and secure and attached to that second donut right there. Now that we have that nice and secure, the next step would be to put some glue onto those stabilizers, just like this, because these will be the ones to hold the third donut on top of this second one. Gently put the third donut, align it with the rest of the mechanism, and gently fold those stabilizers. So make sure that they are secure but not too tight, and you can see that it will align once again to the markings on that inner circle right there. Now remember that if you fold this too tight, your mechanism may not work. So make sure that it has enough space for movement but also quite secure. Now it's time to test it out, and here we go. Now the first time you test it, it's going to be a little tight, but once you start moving the rest of the mechanism, it will move smoothly, just like this. Now, as you keep moving this, make sure that you do so very gently. That way, nothing from inside of these parts get misplaced. Now, earlier we saw those little bits right there hanging out, and it does show a little bit when you open the iris. So what we do is just we fold it, and don't worry, it will not get in the way, and this is the easiest way for all of these little bits not to show. Now you will see for the rest of the video that every time I change something from my mechanism, I practice opening and closing it once again to make sure that any changes I make will not get in the way of my mechanism here. And now this is how I laid out my card panels, and this is how or where my focal point, which is the magic iris, will be. And at this point, all you need to do is just decorate your card. Now, like I said, I was going to use all of these little bits and pieces from the limited edition Simon Says stamp kit for February 2022, and it is just so adorable. It has all of these little die cut pieces that you can use and ready on hand, and it makes your card making so much easier because you don't have to color and stamp or any of that. It just makes it so much easier. Now you will find many designs from this kit. There's over 100 of these little die cut pieces that will complement and make your card extra special. All the colors are complementing to the patterned papers as well as the cardstocks that come with it. So now it's time to make sure that our magic iris is attached to our card panel. This is how I placed it. It's just a red cardstock followed by a patterned paper. Now we start up closed because we want to find out how we will align our images, and it's going to be this way. Now that we know that I want that little handle right by the upper right corner, it's time to stick them using our tape runner, and we are going to put some tape on those stabilizers. Now I'm not sure, I have not tried putting more tape on any other parts of the magic iris, and I just have a feeling like if I do that, it's going to get in the way of the movement of our mechanism. So just to make sure that nothing gets in the way, I just put some tape on the stabilizers. Now I am aligning my little handle right there on the upper right corner, slightly lower maybe, so I can put something on top of that, just like this. Now the good thing about making this card a little bigger than usual is making sure that all the other pieces that I would want to add will have more room for it. For example, I want to put more elements around this magic iris to make it even more special. Now that I open and close it, it still works, so that means putting the glue behind this mechanism just by the stabilizers will safely get our magic iris to move, but not get in the way of its movement. Now I have this little piece that also came with the Simon Says Stamp limited edition kit, and I just cut that into that same size in the hole right there and attaching it, making it my focal point. So every time you open and close that, it's those little birds are going to show right there. I find that so cute already, but obviously we need to add more elements to it. And so at this point, really, there's nothing left to be demonstrated in the card other than just choosing all of these elements to make it complete. And I will leave it to this so that we can see how the card turns out. Just remember that when you decorate your card, and every time you make changes to your magic iris mechanism, you test it out first to make sure that it moves nicely. Now you can see here that my card changed so drastically. I decided the last minute to change it to blue just because I put that little cloud there, and I wanted it to be more like the sky with all of those little balloons behind it. I also stamped the words pretty sure were meant to be right in the middle, and will you be my Valentine right at the bottom. And I am just adding up more glitters to this. I use the Simon Says Stamp Love Greetings Mix, one of my favorites, for all of my Valentine cards. And you can see that my card is already finished. And all of these little elements that came with it was also from the Valentine kit. And my interactive Magic Iris Valentine's Day card is complete. I hope that you guys got inspired to create more interactive Valentine's Day cards or for any other occasion. And if you want to see more of our interactive dice coming for the last week of the month, please like and subscribe right here at Plan B Works so you don't miss out on any more episodes for more affordable crafting, resourceful hacks, and easy techniques. We'll see you guys next time.